The main downforce generating device now is the floor, by quite some margin.
When it comes to the aerodynamics of an F1 car in 2024, there's no area more pivotal than its floor. Not only is it the foundation from which everything else is built around, it's also the main generator of downforce and the focus of this edition of The Building Blocks. Generally speaking, the closer a team can get its car to the ground, the better downforce they'll generate. However, go too low, and that's where problems arise. As was on display a few years ago when bouncing was such a problem for some teams, it even inherited a nickname called porpoising.
You've got tunnels under the floor, and as you get closer and closer, the gap between the floor edge and the road gets smaller and smaller, and you start to get more and more sealing in that area, and that device will always be very sensitive to the height above the road. Now, that's partly why you get this bouncing effect with these cars, where when it starts bouncing, it's hard to stop it.
As you move towards the rear of the car, that's where you find the diffuser. That opening at the back of the car that accelerates the airflow, increasing that downforce. McLaren team principal Andrea Stella explains.
So once air is underneath the floor, the diffuser is sucking the air out.
Well, the diffuser there's very low pressure under the car. That's the role of the diffuser. It generates low pressure, and when you have low pressure, it means that the rest of the car pushes the car down. This low pressure is obtained by the vortices, because you can see with a tornado, when you have a tornado, like it sucks everything, because there's very low pressure in the core of the tornado, if you want. So that's the kind of similarity as to, there's many mini tornadoes under the car. That's how you generate this suction, and through this suction, the overall downforce on the car.
What you often find is as the rear of the car works harder, it's drawing more air through the front of the floor, and it actually generates downforce across the whole of the floor. So with the previous regulations, it was quite easy to sort of change which end of the car was generating the performance. But with these floors, the whole thing works together, and if you improve the flow at the rear and you work it harder, you get a corresponding increase at the front.
While races may be won by a driver on Sundays, it begins in the engineering department months earlier. A few portions of the design are as important as the floor, one of the key building blocks to F1 success.